live on stage. The sound
of Orlando.
So, is they ready?
Yes.
The sound
of Orlando.
You don't know?
You better know, man. You better go ask somebody. You know what time it is. It is time for the Sound of Orlando show. I am your boy, Ro, man. Welcome back to another week. This is Black History Month, okay? So, you know, when we're talking about that Black History Month, we got a lot going on. I mean, we're still fighting for our freedom. We're still trying to bring awareness to the struggle. We're still trying to complete this idea of reading and then sharing what you're reading with your brothers and sisters. We're still trying to solve the whole concept, of loving our brother as we want to be loved. I mean, we're still struggling with the concept of not looking at your brother as a dollar bill, looking at your sister as a dollar bill. You know, we're still trying to solve some of the basic things that require us to be better as this thing we call black, this thing we call rap, this thing we call hip hop, this thing we call everything. So, Black History Month should bring us to a point where we could talk about it, be about it, and live by it. Okay. Everyone out there, man, I want to give a special thanks. We reached a special threshold. We've been doing this show for, close to 3 months, give or take. And we've just reached 1,800 followers. So I'm happy about that, man. Let's keep this thing moving. Spread the word. Tell your peoples. This was an idea that came out of, nowhere. It's been brewing. But like most things, an idea requires action. Sometimes you don't know what it's going to look like. Sometimes you don't know how it's going to end up. And most people don't start things unless they have a clear view. I, on this hand, didn't have a clear view. I just know we needed it. We needed a voice in our city that not only represented our city, but brought people from outside our city to talk about some things and talk about this thing we call hip hop and show, not only, them, but show us that, the culture is a lot bigger than just somebody rapping or somebody DJing. It's something you live. It's like Karis once said, rap is something you do, hip hop is something you live, and we live it out here, man. Shout out to all my peoples in the O, and y'all know who y'all are, who continue to say, hey, man, how important this show is for us, how it's impacting you. Anybody tuning into the show, make sure you're liking, you're sharing, you're telling your friends about it, you're telling your peeps about it. Does the show have any music involved? Not exactly. Facebook, FBI, CIA, they're always trying to shut us down, under the guidelines of licensing. It's funny how we came up with hip hop and we no longer own it to be able to freely share it as we did back in the days with the tapes, and showing love to our people. It's funny how we no longer control and fully control the way we did in the late 70s and the 80s, where we could just play the music because the music is our soundtrack. So shout out to all the people that tune in despite that. Shout out to all the haters that continue to fold under pressure. They can't stop what God has brought to the table. And, so we acknowledge the fight and we acknowledge the success. Shout out to Tampa Bay Buccaneers too. I wasn't rooting for them. I lived in Kansas City for 12 years. They grew on me, so I love my Chiefs. Shout out to Mahomes. Y'all played the good fight, but somebody had to lose, and it was you guys. So kudos to Tampa Bay. Kudos to our GOAT. A lot of people don't like Brady, but in this lifetime, he has done more for football than than a lot of other people. So kudos to the Bucks and Brady and all that movement over there and all that energy. Shout out to Tampa. My man DJ Sandman, my man DJ Eakin out there. I know you guys were like, just in complete heaven out there. And we ain't even talking about the parade, that's soon to be kicking off here soon. So shout out to that whole Hillsboro movement. Y'all did what y'all had to do. Y'all made history, and it's Florida, man. So we got to congratulate that. Yes, this monologue is running long because I got to thank a lot of people, as we start this new week, in reflection and giving hip hop what it's due. Sometimes you just got to say, hey, thank you to everyone who is contributing to the well-being and movement of this show, because this show is about you guys. Some people, may not realize what they're supposed to be in life, and they find themselves reluctant soldiers in movements that they didn't even realize they were training for. I'm one of those people. I'm here. This is not something I wanted to do. I didn't want to host no show, and be the front man of the band. This is just something that necessarily put itself in place, and out of necessity for our city, I felt like we needed. And I want to say thank you to everybody that had an encouraging word and are proud of what we are doing. Shout out to Gov Talk, my man, Great Peso from the Fearless Four, putting me out there, man, and introducing me to some people out here, across this country that are pushing the culture forward, and they're featuring me in April. I love that. I think that is awesome. I didn't ask for that, so it's good to see when people acknowledge what you're doing, and you're doing it out of love, and I think that's awesome, man. So shout outs to the Fearless Four and Queen Muhammad. Shout out to all y'all. It's a great thing to happen for our city, and that's how I'm looking at it. Our city, our story, our sound. So with that said, tonight we were supposed to have Rough Ends. They weren't able to make it tonight. So we've reached a point now in which there are artists that are ready to just jump in at a moment's notice to come on the show. I believe that is completely awesome. I believe that speaks to what we're doing. To have somebody available immediately. I'll go on. I'll tell my story, and this is what we want. And this next guest that I got coming on, she represents this new wave of what we are looking at as hip hop and that movement, and that whole energy. She's right out of the BX. New York is going through a lot of stuff with this COVID. New York has always been New York. The daily struggles have always been there, and yet she is coming with it. One nasty lyricist, I'm telling you, on the come up that people got to look out for. I heard her. Shout out to Rated R, my brother Ralphie's. He put me on to her, and I couldn't even get past the first record. I was like, oh my God, this is dope. We got to spin this. We got to run that. So without any further ado, let me bring on what we are considering the future in hip hop. Lady extraordinaire, MC to the core. What you would expect coming out of the BX, and the type of class and seriousness that they take hip hop to be. Let's bring on Swerve Stacks. Let's give it up.
Yeah. You know how the fuck we coming, man.
Yes.
Shout out to home, man. We here. Orlando, what's good?
Yes. Welcome to Orlando. We got a big Latino presence out here. You told me you're Boricua and Dominican, and shout out to all my Dominicans out there. Shout out to all my Boricuas out there. I love it because, when we get our representation in the door, a lot of times we won't let that shit go. And I think that's a beautiful thing because, the world likes to put everybody in a box. But
Mm-hmm.
without our greats, and people say, nah, fuck that, I could do that. Shout out to Big Pun, shout out to Fat Joe, shout out to the Beat Nuts, people like that who bring stuff to the culture. I think it's just we need that, and we need that in hip hop representation. We don't need y'all just going to reggaeton, come to this hip hop, man. Let's go.
That's a fact. That's
Yo,
a fact.
so
Definitely. Shout out to all my Latins out there
you're
doing
right,
their thing.
right. It's very needed right now in hip hop culture. I think we're getting to that point where I think it's the music has become so inclusive, but at the same time we become so like genreized. So everything's put in like, okay, this is trap, or this is lo-fi, or this is this, or this is, I remember the days of it. No, that's just hip hop,
Right.
but I think people are getting tired of that. Um, we do name calling in normal life. I think this is one of those moments where we're like, man, fuck this. Fuck all this name calling and confusing people. Just play the fucking hip hop. Just play the record. Just do what you got to do and bring that beat back. So,
Right.
For all my peoples that don't know who Swerve Stacks is, give us some insight into your world. How did you come up, and how did you get started in this thing called rap? And talk about your growing up in the BX with all of that influence and culture and struggle and hard knock life. Talk about all that.
Well, first and foremost, we all know the Bronx is where hip hop started at. So, you know, there's a lot of that culture over here. There's a lot of that inspiration. Like, I grew up listening to hip hop. My mom's, like, my mom is really the one who gave me that inspiration to do music. I'm not gonna lie. With all the music she used to play. But definitely, it's just, the everyday struggle. The everyday struggle.
Raise your put your camera a little bit lower so we can see you kind of, yeah, a little
You
more,
see me?
mama, a little more.
You see me?
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so pretty much growing up in the everyday struggle and putting it to the paper and making a movie with it. That's pretty much what I've been doing.
Right.
You know?
What were some of the influences that you had growing up, that kind of gave you the idea that you could do that? Talk about that.
Well, it's actually crazy because I went to the studio one day and my friend was actually recording music, so he was like, "Yo, I heard you spit one time. Get in the studio. Let's see how you sound." And I went in there. I made a whole song, and I was just on the block blasting the music, blasting it to hear how it sounds or whatever. And some guy walked by, and he's like, "Yo, who's that?" And I'm like, "Yo, that's me." And he's like, "Now, what you doing with that? Like, you got to do something with that. You can't just sit on that. You got to really do something with that." And right there and then, I never stopped. I never stopped.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you felt like, okay, boom. Now talk about the Bronx first of all. Let's talk about the Bronx. Bronx could easily kind of be looked at as like when we say Atlanta, but we're not describing Atlanta, right? We're
Right.
describing there's a lot of different areas within the Bronx, and they move different in those areas. Where exactly in the Bronx
I'm from the
is?
West Bronx.
Wow,
Fordham area, 183rd, Davidson, Walton, the Concourse, Grand, all of that. That's my side right there.
West
Fact.
Bronx. Talk about it. Um,
Hmm.
what's the difference between the West Bronx for all the people that may not know what that Bronx is? What is the difference between that West Bronx and that South Bronx that everybody's familiar with?
The difference, I mean, I wouldn't say it's probably too much of a difference because it's like it's poverty, like it's all poverty. It's all poverty. It's It's a mix of all races. We all grew up together. We all was brought up together. You feel me? So in New
Right.
York City, in New York City to see somebody different is hard because we all grew up together. We all was brought up together in the same conditions, you know. So we we
Right.
we all like family, you know. So
Right.
um, but the South Bronx is definitely yeah, the Bronx is gritty, man. The Bronx is a gritty place. If you never been here and you come here, you probably gonna be a little shaky. Probably gonna be a
Right.
little shaky. But
Um, how give the people them an idea of some of the things it takes to survive in the Bronx. Like what are some things that you got to do on a daily basis that you may not have to do in Kansas or that you may not have to do, in Utah or something. Talk about that.
well, first of all, you gotta be on 10 toes over here. That's first of all. 10 toes, 4 eyes, all that, like on point, real on point. Like it's not a walk in the park. It's definitely not a
Right.
walk in the park. Um, what else? Like it's crazy. I live this every day, and it's so hard to explain it, right?
Right, right. What because it's natural, right? Because it's
It's so
difficult.
natural that it's like
I'm asking you how you clean clothes, literally. I'm literally asking you that. To you, it's cleaning clothes. Like this is I gotta go do my laundry. What are you talking about? You know, um,
you heard,
you know, we're
right?
talking about a New York City in which, as stupid as that sounds, most people do have to do their laundry outside of their house.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Whereas like Florida, no, you don't have to go to the laundromat. So
Now
that
over here,
brings
you're gonna see them pushing the coche down the block, a few blocks maybe, just to get to the laundromat, with like
right,
three big ass bags on one coche. You heard?
right, right.
No lie.
Now, dumb question. Who's got the better pizza? The Bronx or Brooklyn?
Uh shout
I've been hearing that
out to
argument
Brooklyn,
forever.
but I think the Bronx is. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go with the Bronx on that one. That's a fact,
Okay.
especially the
Okay.
pizza shop on Castle Hill.
Shout out
Pizza
to
shop on
Castle
Castle
Hill.
Hill for 350. You won't even be able to finish that slice. That's how big that slice is.
Wow. Wow.
Facts.
You hear that,
Mm-hmm.
tourists? Um, Bronx is where it's at with the pizza. I've been hearing this particular explanation forever. And Bronx just got that flavor out there, man. Talk about what inspired you to start doing these remixes. People, we still call it kind of the mixtape game, but talk about what inspired you to start doing these dope ass remixes.
Pretty much that's like the music I grew up on. Compared to the music that's out now. So I figured, yo, let me see if I could. And I always used to write since I was like 11 years old. I always was writing back when you used to put the paper and the pen together, like you know. Now it's not even like that no more. Everybody writing in notes now, you know.
Right,
Pretty much is the music I grew up on. Like I put my favorite records together and I take the beat and do my own thing on them and see, you know. And it turns out like everybody
right,
everybody loves that shit. Everybody loves that shit. I guess I bring
right,
them back to the time, you know. I bring them back to that time.
right.
Facts.
Yeah, and I mean, what a great time it was because there was more of a focus on the idea of the flow, saying something,
Right.
and being able to keep up, that up tempo, man. I mean, not too many people can keep up with that up tempo. That starts putting you in different kind of class ranges of lyricism, But we celebrate those artists all the time, like the
Right.
idea of what it is to be an MC. Shout out to the Nas's that are continuing to do it, the Kendricks, you
Mhm.
know. Um, what do you think of this particular wave of artists that are coming out in 2020, 2021? How are you feeling about your circle on the come up? It is your circle. These are the people that are going to be the artist or the class. It's like kind of, let's say you're Dwayne Wade, you're coming out of a class with LeBron James, and you're coming out of a class with, a Kyrie. Or talk about what that is for you and what's inspiring you right now with that.
The new artists, they cool. I mean, it's a cool little vibe to bop to or whatever. It's not something I grew up on particularly, so I still listen to Ready to Die, B.I.G. I still listen to Wu-Tang. I still listen to old school shit, like. But the new vibes is cool. I mean, I guess everything changes with time,
Right.
I don't knock it, but definitely somewhere in this time the message got lost, like, in hip hop. Definitely.
Well, you're bringing up a great point, and a great segue. What is the Bronx? Is the Bronx still kind of, grabbing the South and feeling the South, the way it has been for, I would say, probably at least 15 years? I mean, they really grabbed on to the South, and it started. I ain't gonna lie, a couple times I had to look twice because I was like, how the hell is that coming? That shit ain't the Bronx. That shit's Miami-Dade County. Like, how the hell? Are they still doing that, or are you seeing that kind of die off a little bit? What are you seeing over there?
Honestly, it's like a 50-50. It depends what type of artist it is. Like, maybe if it's the younger crowd, the younger crowd definitely but the younger crowd really don't know who Method Man is, and they don't do their history on who Curtis Blow is, and they don't do their history on that. So I can't knock them. They ain't grow up listening to that.
Right.
They grew up listening to I don't want to say no names.
No. Tell your story.
They grew up listening to the little Uzi Verts and all that extra shit, the Young Thugs and the, shit like that. I didn't. So that's not where my inspiration is gonna come from. My pen game is gonna be similar to the Jada Kisses and the Fabulous, and the shit like that. Yeah.
Why is that important to you? Give our people some insight. Obviously we're in Orlando, Florida. Obviously we're down south. Some call Florida the bottom. We're at the bottom down here. Talk about why that is important to you. That legacy in which you described, the Jadas, that particular vibe. Is it because you want the Bronx to have its signature or its sound?
Right. I can't let them forget what we sound like.
Right. And you hear that a lot right now. This is what New York sounds like. Why is that important to you? Just describe why is that important to you.
Because New York is a whole different, like, we got that music that you could really feel, like we got that real heart touching music, like is and we got a message in the music as well, So and
Right.
Don't forget, hip hop is for the kids. We can't teach them all drugs and this and that and all that extra shit. It's cool once in a while, but sometimes a message is cool too,
Right.
Definitely.
Oh man, you heard that, Orlando? She just kept it one extra buck on top of that 100, man. I mean, like, that's for real, because a lot of people aren't thinking it or taking hip hop seriously that way. It's just a means of an income. It's just a way to get money. They're not looking at, or to be famous, but they're not looking at it like you just described, the idea of morality, like a hip hop morality. Like,
Right.
man, we can't be talking to these kids like that, man. We can't be.
I learned a lot from listening to music myself. So, like, I'm just trying to keep that culture alive, that essence,
Right.
I'm just trying to keep that alive.
Do you think, because I heard this a lot too, they always say the NBA's great when the Knicks are good. You know, like it's a great place for the NBA to be when the New York Knicks are playing well and the Lakers are playing well. Um, but is it a good place to be when New York, as far as hip hop is concerned, is it better for hip hop for New York to have its own sound and not kind of go with the pop and mainstream sound as much as they have been for the past few years? Do you feel like it's just better for hip hop in general? Hello?
I'm not even going to lie, bro. The sound sounds a little bit staticky. You don't hear it?
Yeah, it's starting to crunch up a little bit.
So I couldn't really hear your question.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let's see here. We're live, man. We're still dealing with this technology. Back out of it and come back in.
Okay.
Yes, you're listening to the Soul Show. This is your boy Rome. Shout out to everybody on the check-in, man. My brother DJ KG, legendary DJ for Code Cheese. Man, I'm gonna have you. He's gonna be on the show coming up here in April. Can't wait for that to happen. Shout out to my man Colin. Shout out to Jesse Jazz on the check-in. Shout out to Jason. What's good, homie? My Kansas City brother. Shout out to Rated R on the check-in, man. Love to have you on the show. Good looking with this girl, man. She is just completely amazing. If you don't know what she is doing right now on the lyrics, I mean, you just ain't been following, hip hop the way it's supposed to be, man, because this girl is a problem for the future. And she's, bringing them lyrics back, man. Bringing them bars back. Let's take a look at some of the stuff that she is doing right now, and let's see here. Let's take a look. She is doing some major stuff, man. So if you can hear what we're doing right now, just hold on tight.
Filling up the guns now, telling me what? Shit, I had to double it up. I'm from the bottom where they ain't never shows no love. I'm from the Bronx where it get retarded first in the month. Bitches be capped, cause really they be murdering what? I'm with the hitters and they gon' get dirty for love. Don't come with a blade, we only keep 30s enough. Them labels gon' call, I know they better. Degrees, I'm hot, nigga, burning it up. She used to front, now she never could touch. I'm only leveling up, fresh turning niggas that I never could trust. 150 in a brand new, I used to get on the bus. I seen them funny looks before I knew them niggas was sus. Could never play me, shit, you only playing yourself. This was the 90s, your music would've stayed on the shelf. These niggas be whack, that's why I say to myself, you been lost chasing them hoes, you chasing the wealth. And you ain't gotta put the dough up, I bet on myself. Since day one out the pockets, never settle for help. Bitches can't fuck with me, yeah, I said it myself. And you know if I said it, then I said it as felt. Pass me the game, I feel like it's mine. Lean and race while bitches behind. Look, I said you could catch me uptown. Big body, peanut butter guts now. She ain't never hit me back, then she wanna fuck now. Bitches ain't wavy, they flush down.
Yeah. We back.
Yes.
You can hear me now, bro?
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I can hear you. I had to come to the car because I don't know if it's the service in my crib, so facts.
Yeah, that might be it. But man, I just try to give them a little taste of what you're doing. And man, like I said, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of future bars right there, man. I mean, are you prepared for what's ahead of you in this crazy industry, and some of the things that artists have to deal with? Are you prepared for the pressure for things to change around you as you continue with your career?
I mean, honestly, I've been dealing with pressure all my life. So, I mean, I know it might be a little bit more, whatever, but it's the city that never sleeps. So I don't think there's nothing that God could throw my way that I can't handle. I walk with God
Right.
first. Like whatever He wants for me, let's get it. Tell him that
Yep.
all the
Yep.
time.
Yep.
All the time.
Um, what's been your response in your home city, in your hometown? What do the people there feel about you, and what you could potentially do?
I knew it was real when I was outside and somebody knocked on my car window. Like, you Swerve Stacks? Like, nah, bro, that's crazy. I knew I was working hard when that happened. No lie.
Wow.
No
Wow, man.
lie.
And that's good stuff, man, because it's not easy to get in this business because you give
Nope.
some of yourself away in order to do it, whether that's privacy, whether that's trusting people, it's just, a lot of things are given, during that course of this industry. I mean, right now, especially, you got to do more than just rap now, to
No
be
facts.
to be considered, and I hate using this word because it sounds like complete nonsense, relevant. Like, I don't whoever came up with that word, relevant, they the goddamn devil. Because I mean, that's one way to literally tell somebody you ain't shit.
Right.
And a
It's
lot
true.
of people grew up in that kind of environment. Like, maybe had some fucked up parents that told them you ain't shit. Maybe it was their friends that told them you ain't shit. And that was before all the relevant talk was upon us. But now we live in
Right.
a world where, it's someone could simply tell you you're not relevant, and that's it with you. You're completely like non-existent to people. Talk about um, that fight as being an artist and maintaining the idea of how do I stay in people's faces
Yeah.
without feeling like in some way that I've become a slave to them. Talk about that.
That's crazy you bring that up because that's one of the hardest parts in this industry is staying relevant. Like, all right, it's probably easy to get hot. You could probably make a viral TikTok video, but how are you gonna stay hot after that video? Like, you got to keep people entertained. You got to keep coming with the good content. You got to stay creative. You got to do something that nobody else is doing. Like, there's a million other people trying to be number one too. There's a million other rappers. There's a million other singers. There's a million other dancers. But what
Right.
makes you stand out? That's what they
Right.
want to see. What makes
Do
you
you
stand out? Like,
do you think we should go back to making albums again? Because when people made albums, it wasn't a thing for them to wait, 6 months, a year to hear something new from them. I
right.
mean, we live in this time right now where everybody's got to have a new single out Monday through Friday. Like they got like, I mean, that's just
It's
that's like
cause it's cause the streaming plays in the part now. So I guess is they see more money with the streams than they did with the albums.
right,
So it's the idea is to
right,
hype the single up, get as much streams as you can off that single.
right,
Whereas I don't think people like I think people's attention span got shorter during the years as well, because I can't see nobody like listening to a whole album no more. Not with the music that's out now, at least.
right. Which
I
is
I can't
insane.
listen I can't listen to a whole album of these new rappers. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Right. That's your truth. Just say it like it is. I mean, and there's a reason why you probably can't listen to it all because for a lot of it, I remember the days in which you heard an album and you had several things on there. You had the hood record,
Yep,
you had the club record,
yep,
you had the go meditate record, You had to, could play this in front of your kids' record. Like there was so many records on that album.
It's true.
Like there was something for everyone on there. Now it just seems like it's for one person. And to the point, like we were talking about the relevancy, how what an artist has to go through to be relevant. It's so scary in the sense, like, I'm glad I don't necessarily have to deal with that anymore, because that shit sucks. But for the new generation, and that's just my opinion, for me having to do it, but I'm saying for anyone else that's looking to get in the industry, it's good to have these conversations, because if you don't know what's going on, a lot of people don't realize, in the 90s to 2000s, we were all complaining about getting a point, and that point could have been a penny, that point could have been a quarter, off a record, whatever, Now we're talking about quarter points, hundreds of points, like a hundred of a point. And that's what that streaming is. I think because we've allowed them, and I'm gonna say an arbitrary them, because this ain't that kind of show. You can find that on Fox News at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, but I'm saying them is that they've allowed it for us to devalue our products to the point in which we're arguing over hundreds of a penny, hundreds of a cent. So we have to work more and do more just to keep our, like you said, keep the buzz going. And, if you take a 6-month hiatus or a year hiatus in certain, parts of the music, you might be forgotten for good.
Yep, it's true.
There's an artist called Sade. Shout out to Sade. She's been doing a thing forever. She'll come out with an album like every 10, 15 years. And completely, she's going to get a Grammy for it, blah, 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 blah. I just think, artists could be in especially better positions if they could be allowed to get away from the having to be in front of the camera or having to put out material all the time, because it's quantity versus quality. You can't put out quality if you haven't allowed that thing to breathe.
Right.
It's true. So
it's true.
Talk about what it is to be a female MC and the things that kind of you face as an artist, because we got to big up our women. Shout out to everybody out there to know what I'm talking about.
Yes, definitely. Shout out to the female rappers out there. Anybody doing their thing, because this is not an easy art.
No.
It's not an easy art at all. As far as getting in the studio to do a song, writing a song, performing the song, is a lot of elements that come in it. It's definitely I wouldn't say as hard for the female rappers right now. We doing pretty good. We running through the door right now, actually.
Right.
Running through the door right now. So shout out to everybody who paved the way before us, I know I could imagine how harder it was for them. Like the Little Kims and the Queen Latifahs and the MC Lights and shit like that. Yeah, it's definitely not an easy sport, but as long as you know you gotta learn the business. You gotta learn the business. Make sure nobody plays you, because you know how they do females. They see you a female and you better know your shit, man, because let me tell you, they'll run circles around you, sis. Don't let them do that. I'm from the block, so that ain't happening. You feel me?
What's some of the crazy? Talk about what's one of the craziest things you've seen so far in your young career that, like, made you be like, oh, like we doing that now? Like what? Talk about like the struggle in that that you see other people may go through? Give an example of that. Yeah, it is crazy. Talk about something that just kind of gave you a different perspective on it, if you will. Like, wow.
Um, there's a few shit. Which one would I speak on? Let me see. Um, I don't know. There's a few things like you just gotta be on top of you gotta be on top of what people's telling you. You gotta make sure you understanding what people's telling you. Like, cause somebody could tell you one thing and you thinking is a whole nother thing, but isn't they taking it a whole nother way? Like, so
Right,
you gotta make sure you know everything. Make sure everything is on papers. They could
right,
tell you one thing and do another. Like, just make sure you do the business. This industry is 90% business and 10% music. You
right,
know, the music is not everything. Like, if you all right, you could do the music all you want, but you might not get paid because you don't know your business part of it. So if you're doing this to get paid, you gonna want to know the business part, man. So you feel me? Do the research and don't rush your way through it. Learn as you go, because the journey is the beautifulest part.
right.
Just the journey to the success is the best part. You know, you might fuck
Um,
around and you might fuck around and rush to the top and not even know how to stay up there. So just learn
right.
as you go, man. It don't hurt. It don't hurt.
What do you think of, you know, the community, the LGBT community representing in hip hop and having that representation from some of the artists that we all love and enjoy to this day.
Mhm.
They're from that community. You talk about what that means to you, and how is it? How do you navigate in that in today's world? And what are some things that you could probably tell someone else? Hey, I've seen that happen before. But if you do certain things like this, maybe things could be better for you moving forward. Talk about that.
Pretty much I'm all for the LGBT community. Like, shout out to anybody else who paved the way before us. Like,
Right.
a few years ago they was looking, how they used to look at us. Now it's like
The stereotypes, right?
now
Stereotypes.
we like they normalized us in a way, in a sense now, so it's like,
Right.
yeah, shout out to anybody who paved the way before me. Definitely gonna keep that alive, not doing too much, but
Right.
not people be doing too much, but we gonna keep it cute. And
Right. And live your truth. And
yeah,
and and part of that hip hop experience is to is living the truth.
right.
And because that, to your point, a lot of women had to sexualize themselves to
Yep,
pave the way.
yep,
So that women like your Lauryn Hills didn't have to so much, or
yep,
or your or your Jill Scotts, whatever. There's so many legends who put it all on the line, um, to make it a little more easier, to be a little more digestible, that a woman's in charge. Shit, we had to wait this long for a black vice president, black woman vice president. Like, shit, you know, the
yeah. It's
work
true. It's true.
continues.
It's
Uh,
true.
but I think it's good that, like I said, we should be in a place of trying to unify our differences
Yep,
instead of trying to eliminate our differences.
yep, yep.
Everybody's trying to be normal. What the fuck is that?
Right,
What is that?
right. Exactly. What is normal?
What is
What
normal?
is
I mean,
normal?
that shit sounds whack as fuck if you ask me, because who wants to go to a party with that guy? Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's not, or that lady. The idea of what should be has been flipped on its head in 2020. Shit, we all got molested in
Yep.
2020. We
Yep.
all got touched in the
That's
wrong
a fact.
place
That's
in
a fact.
2020. And so it's hard as hell to look at, things, and I know, I'm an older guy, and shout out to all my OGs out there,
Shout out to the OGs. That's a facts.
you
That's
know,
a
but
facts.
we got to do better as OGs to understand that even as things change, you know, it's not everybody younger than us that need to change. Our OGs should be expected to change too, in a
Right.
more positive way, because we grew up with a bunch of bullshit, hate, and things having to be, oh, that's just the way it is. And that shit ain't just the way it is. There's more
Right.
answers to that,
Right.
and everybody has their own answer to it, which is awesome, because the world would suck, right? If it was
Right.
just one answer.
If you didn't have your own opinion, yo, it's true.
Right.
It's
I
true.
think, shout out to Jesse Jazz on the check, and he says, no such thing as doing too much as long as you are being yourself. Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly.
Yep.
And we should celebrate that, because anyone that's being fake in 2021 and living a life that they don't want to live in 2021, breaking news, you're a throwback. that's, that's such an old way of looking at this. That's a throwback shirt.
Yo, fucking crying. Nah.
You
Yeah, so
literally landed on this planet yesterday, bro. 2020 should have cleansed your ass of all your um, foolishness. You should have come to a great grand rising that if you get one more day on this planet, that's another shot to be
to
you.
be great. Mm-hmm.
To
To
be
be
you.
great.
To be great. To be you. Shout out to my man, Rated R, man. He's messaging me,
Facts.
man. He's like, yo, man, it's my girl. It's my lady right here, man. She's doing a thing up there, man. You got support from down south, man. How's that feel?
That's my guy right there, Radar. He showed me love since day one, man. That's my guy right there. I can't wait to link him and work with him. Facts. We
Yeah.
definitely gonna have something in the works real soon. Legendary guy
Well,
right there. If you don't know
yeah,
Rated R, you better tap in.
man,
Tap
Rated
in.
R is legendary, not only in the music industry, but he's a legendary part of the Orlando sound. We love him out here. He's one of the many legends that we can actually say has done and has put people in positions to win. This man never gets tired. He works
He's
like a
so
thousand
humble.
jobs, and he's never, he still finds a way to be at home and work and
Yep.
and be in pictures with some of our greatest stars. And I mean,
Yep.
salutes to people with all kinds of energy like that can be everywhere at once. And that's
Yep.
one of those
Yep.
dudes, man. And you need to have one of those dudes in your corner. So shout
That's
out
a
to Rated
fact.
R. Shout out
And
to
he's a
Rated R.
good and you always need a good person in your corner. That's the good person in my corner.
Yep.
No lie. No
Yep.
lie. Shout out the Radio for real.
What can they expect from you in 2021? What should they be looking out for when it comes to Swerve Stacks movements?
Well, right now I'm working on an album that should be dropping springtime. And then I'm also working on If It Wasn't for the Bronx Part 2, which is my mixtape that I just dropped in November with all freestyles, the throwback freestyles on it. Um so yeah, I'm definitely looking into dropping those. I'm dropping a video tomorrow for Bring the Pain, the freestyle. That's gonna be a movie. So yeah, just more work and more. Y'all gonna be seeing a lot of more of me this year. That's a fact. So get
I
ready,
heard
man.
that. What
Facts.
are you ready to, see concerts come alive again, where you guys could perform on big stages, no mask, everybody just come out, have a good old time? I mean, how much are you longing for that moment?
I can't wait. I honestly can't wait. Before COVID hit, I was at least doing a show every week. Like, and it's just been like so slow and so dead. I'm not even sure if it's ever going back to normal again. Don't quote me on it, but you
Right,
know,
right. It's a possibility. I mean, anything's possible if Trump was
right.
president. Yeah, sky's the limit with that, bro. Anything can happen.
Nah,
Anything.
I'm telling you, bro. But if they don't come back, then they're gonna have to figure something out that we could,
Right,
because we need that. The fans need that. The artists need that. Like, is
right,
I mean, ain't nothing like going to see your favorite artist perform, and you right there, like it's a whole different vibe. It's a different vibe.
right. And for artists, the proverbial artist, um, their performances are their therapy. Like they need that to battle all kinds of depression and whatever they're going through in their, bits of loneliness or not trusting people. And, that's how they get through. When they can perform, they can, get through another day because they
And
were able to do their magic.
seeing how much people support you and how much people you
Right,
touched, and people
right.
that could have been anywhere in the world, but they there with you, So it's like, yeah, we need that back. We definitely need that back. I'm not gonna lie.
I think when they open the gates for that, we might go 6 months where there's literally a concert every day, everywhere. Like
It's gonna
there's
be crazy out here.
right,
It's gonna be
right.
crazy.
I mean, they're gonna be
Definitely.
doing concerts just out in the park, just
I think
put some
we
maps
ready
together.
though.
Right,
I
right,
think us as artists, we ready. We ready. And if you
right,
not, then I don't know. You crazy. That's the best part of it. Performing, like
right.
that's the best part of it.
So, do you have a website together, or are you still? How? Where can they reach you as far as your music and your movement? How can my people in Orlando get to you?
I'm on all streaming platforms, all DSPs, Swerve Stacks. If you want to reach me, you could hit me on Instagram at Swerve183 or Twitter Swerve Stacks. Yeah, you can definitely check me out and hit me up. Let me know what you think. Like, I always love feedback and constructive criticism and all. I ain't too bougie, humble, like, I'm
Right.
here.
Well,
Facts.
before I get you out of here, I'm definitely going to ask you, as an MC, as a lyricist, top 5 female MCs, dead
Ooh.
or alive. Go.
Ooh, I like that. Definitely Roxanne. Um,
Oh, which one?
Roxanne from Queens.
Okay.
Um, um, Definitely Nikki. Nikki got to be up there. Wow, that's a good question, bro. That's a good question. Nikki, Roxanne. I'm gonna go with Queen Latifah. She's always
Shout
been
out
one of
to
my
Queen
best.
Latifah, Jersey. Let's go.
She always been one of my best. Lil Kim. I can't forget about Kim.
Okay.
Um, how much was that already? Like four?
We have 4. One more to go.
One more to go, and I'm gonna put me on that list. Yeah,
I heard that, Mama.
yeah.
I heard that,
I'm gonna
Mama.
put me on that list.
Yes.
As a
I
fact. I hope I ain't forget nobody. Damn.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, but you picked out some pretty good ones. I mean, they've all contributed to this thing we love, this thing of ours called hip hop, and they've all
Right.
made an impact on people. You know, I guess if we made people not want to rap no more, we didn't do our job, right? So
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
the fact that these people that come out decades ago are still inspiring people to come
Yeah.
out and to continue this, I think you can't take nothing away from whatever they did. That's
That's a
beautiful,
fact. That's a
you know.
facts. And you
Um,
could still listen to those people's music and bump it to like today, like, and it's still classics. It's still classics. It will
right.
never get old. It
Um,
will never
what
get old.
what be- before I get you out of here, if you have one thing to say, because right now you're speaking to my city, speaking to my people, um, but even more further than that, if you have one thing to say to someone right now that may be going through it, maybe on the fence about their life, maybe not, you know, don't know what they can do or trying to do, either way, if you could talk to these people and say something to them, what would it be and why?
Well, the first thing I would say is life is beautiful and life is already short, so don't ever spend no time dwelling on anything negative. Like, always try to be positive so you could bring positivity around you. Um, your energy is everything. Always protect it. Like, always protect your peace. Like, and it ain't the end. Life goes on. It ain't the end, and everything plays out. Everything always plays out. Some things fall apart, so other things can fall into place. You just never know. You never know what you up against. I always talk to God, man. I always talk to God when I need somebody to talk to. So that's definitely the advice I would give them. Facts.
Rated R said, Lazy K
Oh
has been
yeah,
an
yeah,
influence in your life, and DJ, uh, you know, talk about that real quick.
yeah.
What does she make to your life?
Shout out to Lazy K, man. She's the first one who hit me up and told me I need to put a mixtape together, and we did that, and it went crazy. It's definitely still going crazy. Yeah, if it wasn't for the Bronx out now. Shout out to DJ Lazy K for real. She came to New York to check me and all that. Like, love, facts, mad love.
That's awesome, awesome stuff
Mhm.
right there. I'm so honored that you came on um, the
Thank
show
you for having
tonight.
me, bro. Thank you.
You already know. This, this is for my city, and this is my city need to be up on what you doing out there too. And I know what I've heard so far. I think sky's the limit for you. Just survive out there, figure it out. You know, I know it's tough out there, especially with all that COVID going on right now. Just find your way and don't let nothing stop you. And I think you're gonna do big things out here, man. So
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you, bro. Shout out to
hey,
everybody who tuned in. Shout out to everybody who tapping in. Tap in with me. Check me out. Swerve Stacks. You know the vibe. Shout out to you, Room. Shout out to Rated R for putting it together. Love, man, for real. Facts.
give it up for up and coming MC fresh out the BX. Look out for her. She's going to be a problem, people. Swerve Stacks live on the
Heard.
Soul Show. Honored.
Thank you,
Continue to
bro.
do
It's a
your thing.
pleasure. My pleasure, bro.
All
Thank you.
right. Thank
You already
you.
know, Florida, we out of here. Holla at me.
Yes. Let's go. Yes. You know what we're doing on the Soul Show. We're always bringing, you know, the people to the show, and we're going to talk about the shiny objects, and we're going to talk about the humanity of us. It's Black History Month. We all black. Shout out to everybody on the check-in. My man, Rated R. We love you, brother. Continue doing your thing. Shout out to Miriam Rodriguez. Shout out to Jesse Jazz, the legend, the myth, the man. Shout out to my man Jay. Shout out to DJ KG. Shout out to Colin. Shout out to my man Ricky. Happy birthday to you, brother. Salute. You know what we're doing out here, man. Like I said in the opening monologue, this show for me is a labor of love. Um, I felt like our city needed it. That's why we're doing it, and I'm appreciative on any support that I get to do it. Because either way, it's going to be done. And I just want to thank all the supporters out here. We got 1,800 followers now. Let's keep it moving. Continue to spread the word. Tell these people what time it is. Shout out to my sponsors, 5-Star Graphics. My man Jesse Jazz, not only a great promoter, a great person, you also got a great company that helps you with printing. Shout out to Tom's Sons. 5 generations of clothing, man. If you want a mask that'll set you apart from everybody else, hit my man George up. He will take care of you straight out of Manhattan. Okay. Once again, like to say thank you to everybody. Continue to support. We're on YouTube. Find us on YouTube. Find us on Facebook. Find us. Because we're looking for you too. This is the Sound of Orlando show. This is your boy Ro, and we ain't playing. We're just not playing. We're not taking no for an answer. Like I said in the beginning, there might be 1 or 2 people that could probably say that I missed that we didn't want on this show. We want your story. We want to hear where you're coming from. I can't tell my story without telling yours. So this is what it is. Orlando, we here. We ain't going nowhere. Thank God for that. I'm out.
Live on stage, the sound.
Orlando.
So, is they ready?
Yes.
The sound.